Disney has announced Indiana Jones 5 is hitting our cinema screens in July 2019. Steven Spielberg is back to direct and Harrison Ford is cracking his whip once again. But what will the film actually be like? For starters, we know it won't be a reboot. All those rumours of Chris Pratt or Bradley Cooper taking on the fedora were just that. Producer Frank Marshall has confirmed that the only person playing Indiana Jones will be Harrison Ford. It could be a direct sequel to Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. In this case, it'll probably be set sometime in the 1960s. For the fourth film, they aged the characters in real time, so it was set 19 years after The Last Crusade. If they do that again, expect Indy 5 to be set in 1968. Alternatively, they could do what Die Hard 6 is planning to do and have the story of old Indy's adventure interspersed with flashbacks to young Indiana Jones in the 1920s or 1930s, similar to the TV series in the 90s. But if they do that, not only will it look like they're copying Die Hard, but the new prequel story will run into the original films chronologically, and that just doesn't make sense unless they ignore the originals or do some timey-wimey wibbly-wobbly stuff. But Harrison Ford is 73 and won't be doing too many stunts for himself. He'll probably have some sidekicks to take the action. Marion could return since they got married at the end of the last film. John Rhys Davies also wants to return as Salah, and that would be cool because the best films have him in. Jim Broadbent could come back, but Disney don't want to remind people of Crystal Skull, so they might not even ask him. Sean Connery definitely won't be back, because he's retired and his character is dead. Unless they set Indy 5 before 1957. The franchise has played around with chronology before. Temple of Doom is actually a prequel, and The Last Crusade starts with a teenage Indy in 1912. If they do go for this option and set Indy 5 in the 1950s, they can easily pretend the fourth film never happened. But Disney is all about franchises and wants to spin the Indiana Jones brand out for as long as humanly possible. They'll want to do something similar to Star Wars and introduce a new generation of adventurers who'll receive the baton from old Indy. Not like that, you dirty bastards. But they already tried this with Mutt Williams and it didn't work. Fans reacted badly to Shia LaBeouf's character, and Shia has retired from blockbusters in favour of standing in lifts and wearing anti-celebrity paper helmets. He's also apparently pissed off both Harrison Ford and Steven Spielberg, so he probably won't be back. Given all that, it means the story will likely be about Indy and another young explorer. It could be one of his students at the university or another one of his illegitimate children, since the rugged archaeologist has plundered a lot of tombs in his time. It could even be a girl. That'd be the best way to continue the franchise without Harrison Ford and still keep fans happy. Rey went down a storm in The Force Awakens, and Disney knows that. What will the MacGuffin be? You know, the thing that drives the plot forward. Well, if it's set in the 60s, we should remember that by 1968, the USA was fully embroiled in the Vietnam War. So we could see Indy going into deepest Vietnam to uncover some powerful Buddhist or Taoist artifact. On the other hand, Indy's at his best when he's chasing an object familiar to Western audiences. The Shankara stones and crystal skulls weren't so compelling. The Indiana Jones novels, comics and video games have shown Indy going after the Spear of Destiny and Moses' staff. We know the films don't mind borrowing from the novels because the crystal skulls actually appeared in spin-off books a decade before they made the fourth film. Indy is also best when punching Nazis. The communists didn't go down so well last time. So even if the new film is set in Vietnam, don't be surprised if neo-Nazis make an appearance. In Frank Darabont's draft script for the fourth film, the villains were neo-Nazis, so we know it's on the table. That said, David Koepp has been hired to write the new script. This is either a good sign because he adapted Jurassic Park, Spider-Man and Mission Impossible, or it's a bad sign because he wrote Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and directed Mordecai. Indy 5 will almost certainly be Harrison Ford's final outing as the hero. It also sounds like Steven Spielberg wants to bring the story he started to a close. So could they kill Indiana Jones? They did it with Han Solo. Hopefully they won't though, because that'd be well depressing, and Indiana Jones is all about fun. But you know who won't be back? George Lucas. He's retired from blockbusters and has handed over all the rights to Disney along with Star Wars. So if they fuck up Indy 5, George can sit back, count his billions and finally have some company in purgatory. What do you want to see in Indiana Jones 5? Comment below, let us know, and if you want to discover more secret facts behind the Indiana Jones films, click right here to see everything you missed about Indiana Jones.